2000, when houses were moving out of here, I looked and looked and looked, and for what my house is worth, I cannot find another house like that. That's why I'm here. So how about some of us that have been here and want to stay here, give us a quarter of what our house is worth and let us keep the house. Or give us all of what the house is worth since you've destroyed our entire area, and still let us keep the house and drain out that round out stream. The thing is full of mud. You might think all the water's coming up from the bottom. The water pools up on Fordmore Road and it leaches back. And it soaks in the ground and it gets together with a ton of water. And yeah, you're in a mud hole. If you don't, I don't mean you personally, I mean anybody involved with that round out stream, those cornfields are going to continue to get flooded out. They're not even going to be able to use them because it takes less of a storm now to flood them than it did 2 years ago. We get 3 or 4 days of heavy rain, those cornfields are going to be underwater. It's not on you.
I don't
it's
disagree
on
with you.
Anybody. Something needs to be done. There's at least 6 houses on the opposite side of the road from me that do not have a flood problem until the lake at Lippman Park overflows and flows right into their basement. And the town should use that lake as a small-scale model of what should be done with that reservoir. Lower the lake, put in the drainage. If it doesn't work, it'll have to help. It's not going to hurt the problem.
I realize that the problem you folks are experiencing is you live it every day. But I talk to people across this entire county, and the problems that you're experiencing, the problems with debris, whether it be woody debris or cobble, is the same in every town. And streams need to be cleaned. They need to have debris removed. And it's a huge problem. And none of us have the answer for it, okay?
Army Corps of Engineers. From Mackinac to Accord, they need to take a ride with the bulldozer. Do the same thing they did with the stream in Ellenville. It made 100% difference.
I pump 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Not just when it rains, not just when a hurricane comes. It's there, summer, night, winter. My pump is always going. Do we know how many people are in the same category?
No,
how many people, just because it rains, they have to pump? Or do they pump when it's a perfectly sunny day for a whole month? I still pump water out of my basement. I've actually raised my floor 4 inches so I could let the water run around the outside, and thank God the neighbor lets me tie into a storm drain. And even with that, I pump 24 hours a day. It gets worse during the rains, and it gets worse during the hurricanes. But it ain't coming from the ground. It's not the hurricane causing my problem. The water's there, and it's just, it may come up more, and I have to, you know, the pump goes on and off every 20, 30 seconds versus 4 or 5 minutes.
That situation is why one of the questions on the application is how many days per year do you experience problems with seepage?
Okay, I put 365 and you can come down and look and you can look at the water. But I've lived with it for a lot of years.
For those people who live outside the 2-mile area, okay, like ourselves, we've been flooded out of our homes twice. And we had to use about $50,000 of our electric bills to get back into the house. We can't get FEMA assistance this time because we didn't maintain flood insurance, which we couldn't afford. Now, is anything being done for people like us?
This particular buyout program was written such that within 2 miles of the aqueduct, your problem emanates from seepage, and if there's enough money left over, they will allow us to go out and address flood issues and not seepage issues.
So really, this is the only thing you've got going for people like us?
Unfortunately, yes, and I realize that everybody can make a case for themselves and has their own set of problems, but if we all listen to what we've heard, we know that there are a number of problems. People that fall outside the area, people that have income eligibility problems, there's a host of them, and that's why we have to go through you use the criteria that was given to us, whether we like it or not, okay? And there's a lot of things about it that I personally don't like. Doesn't matter. This is the criteria. Criteria was given. So we have to deal with it.
All right, question. Is emergency management, other than this, I know this is a separate issue, and he touched on it from Carlos Drive. Is emergency management doing anything for the people in Carlos Drive, doing a package deal? We've had at least 9 to 10 homes have been condemned down there. And the criteria that was set in 205 was that flood insurance was given to some of these people from FEMA. They gave it to them for 2 years. And when the insurance policy came due, they could not afford to continue that policy, so they dropped it. Now in 211, we have another flood in Carlo Drive, and FEMA doesn't even want to talk to the people today. How are we going to resolve that issue through your office?
Through my office, we're not going to be able to, okay? Again, we all have to live by rules. Whether the program that we're talking about today is a state buyout program. The program that you're talking about is FEMA guidelines. They established the guidelines in homes that have been previously flooded. You need to maintain the flood insurance. If you don't, they're not going to pay for substantial damages. Is it a hardship case? Yes, it is. Do I understand that they can't afford it? Yes, I do. It's a federal statute. Those are the rules that they have established. I don't have the ability to change that.
All right, I have a question related to this program. You had mentioned before the demo costs. Is that part of the sale price, or that is above the sale price? So if the house is worth $250,000, you take that and then deduct the cost of demo?
No, the cost of, the only thing that would be deducted from the cost from the sale of the home would be insurance claims, FEMA reimbursements that had not been reinvested back in the home. That's the cost of doing business, and that would be over and above. That's what we use to, in the first round say that, based on the average, it was about $200,000. That means the sale price may have been $175 of the other costs, plus demo, brought up to about $200.
So that comes out of that same pot of money ultimately. It doesn't.
Yes, it does. If I understand that part of the question correctly, the $3.6 million is for all of the costs associated with the program. It's not just the purchase of the home.
Okay. So we can't just take that number divided by homes and say this is it.
Correct.
It's all additional administrative and everything else that's involved in doing this.
Correct. We do not get reimbursed for a lot of the administrative costs.
Legal costs as well.
Right. There are minimal reimbursements for that. Most of the other costs that will be included in there are appraisals, environmental assessments, title searches, cost of the demo is probably the biggest expense, and of course the purchase of the home.
If a person gets involved in applying for this, and do they have the option of opting out?
At any time. That's why it behooves you to submit the application. You can pull it whenever you want.
I have a question for Ira Stern. I was wondering, you mentioned the match-up, the money for the buyout program, that it will be a possibility or it's actually going through. When will we know if the New York Law Department and the New York City Comptroller will review this? How can we find out? Where do we get more information?
The city is already committed to match the funds,
Okay.
and for every contract that the city signs, no matter what it is, it's the same process. So without that going through the full process so that the city can sign the contract, that's why I say it's contingent on New York City Law Department and Comptroller approval on every single contract the city signs. So it's no different than anything else.
You have no ETA on how long this process may be?
It's a couple of months from the time that we have a final agreement to that we then get it registered by. Yes, it is.
Okay. And as for all the residents, do they have to fill out an application in order to have funds allocated, or is there another application that they can fill out?
No, it's the same application. The county's going to run the program with city money.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same application, so people should apply using the same application to the county for the same program.
So everyone really should apply, because there's a good chance that they might be seen and reviewed by New York City, even if the state doesn't approve them they may get funds allocated to them through the DEP in New York City. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, in theory though, due to the large number of potential claimants, there's going to be a very small number that can actually be benefited. Would those people who feel that they're not able to be included, there's nothing to preclude them from banding together with a class action, is there?
No. This is simply a state program that the county is administering. And you know, throughout the course of this, I tried to be as honest and straightforward about what the rules are and why we're doing what we're doing. I don't want to candy coat things and have you come back.
Mostly, community was asking us at PAC meetings, will the city match the state funds? And we agreed to do that.
I think it's not enough money to help the people that need the help.
State will take care of it.
Is there any sense, what the young lady just said, is there any sense among the agencies simply that this isn't enough money? We started with a number of homes that grew to 50 or 60 homes, and then 600 plus letters went out. But by your math, we're talking about 18 homes, maybe. And if DEP matches at 36, we're not even close for 50.
Makes no sense.
Is there any sense anywhere in these agencies that we aren't even on the same planet in terms of the number of people that are suffering with Wawarsing?
Certainly not to minimize what you're suffering, but I can take you to communities around the entire county. Houses that have been completely destroyed, washed off their foundations, that are unlivable.
That's a disaster.
Because of the tunnel?
Right.
Because of his leak?
We're talking two different things.
Right, that's the
Yeah.
difference here. Okay. But I don't have anything else to help them with either. This is the hand we've been dealt. We're trying to administer it.
So everything around you will be bought up and condemned. If you're paying taxes, we will be on our own property. That's how it's gonna work, right? Because we're gonna be living there. Our property is condemned also, no matter how you look at it. It's just that it didn't meet the criteria or something like that there. Every other home around you gets demolished. Where's your property value? Down. Why, I'm still paying taxes on what I'm living on. Everything else around me has just been told that it's condemned.
Is the town
Can't-
gonna
you
allow the
can't
taxes
build on
to
it,
go
you
down
can't do anything.
when that happens?
You have to apply for a,
Reassessment?
apply for a reassessment.
That's great that I'm gonna be paying taxes on basically you're saying that every house around me is condemned. And you don't meet the criteria. Your property may be condemned, you just don't meet the criteria. You'll still have to pay taxes on it.
Where they ran out of money.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, that's pretty good, you know?
Art, question. On the previous buyout, there was homes that were denied because funding was exhausted.
Correct.
Okay? Are these homes gonna be on a preferred list?
No, and that's an argument that those people made, okay? However, this program was tailored to 2 miles from the New York City Aqueduct with a focus on Wawarsing.
How many homes are we talking about that were denied funding from the previous buyout?
There was one.
That's it?
Yep.
Art, the state is the one who said that the county is the administrator of the program?
Yes. Sir?
One thing's being overlooked here. I've heard you talk about loss of town, and I realize there's been a lot of people that's lost their homes. But that's due to Mother Nature. This is man-made, and it's been man-made for over 30 years. The whole northern section of Wawarsing is ruined for decades and decades to come. Because of the water situation and everything else, contamination, you name it, but it's been man-made. And these people here has got to, every one of these people in this room has got to have some kind of relief. Like New York City's got to come up with more money because this thing was man-made, not nature.
I'll echo Dennis's statement that the county will pledge to do everything that we can to administer whatever programs are made available to us. At this point in time, October 20th, 2011, there's one program on the table, and that is the New York State Greater Catskills Flood Remediation Program. Is it enough? No, okay? But it's what we have to offer you today.
I know, and I appreciate that.
Excuse me.
One time involved there, you know, I know New York State's got laws. Well, by the same token, if I go out and I break a law, I gotta pay.
City would be willing to add additional monies to this flood buyout program.
I said the city will reevaluate its position and commitment to the neighborhood after we get this information.
Okay,
I
so
don't
from Laura
know.
Smith to
I don't
Ira
know what it's
Stern,
gonna say.
Laura Smith to Ira Stern, not to New York City DEP, because I know you don't speak for them as a whole. Is it possible that this could be an option for those, because we know just by sitting in this room today that not everybody in this room, never mind everybody that didn't make the meeting because they didn't know about it, but everybody in this room might be able to see some relief because there might be some additional help along the way, if that's fair to say, without putting you on the spot.
I don't know.
Can I answer? I think in some of our discussions that they hinted or that there would be additional money. And of course, we all know that we now have changed commissioners in New York City. Commissioner Holloway is no longer the commissioner, and Commissioner Strickland is in charge now. And Senator Bonasek had written him a letter, as well as I did, inviting him up here. And I think at that point, when he does come up, I think that's the question you can ask him. And I think, personally, I think the city is committed for extra funding if this money is not enough. And like we heard here tonight, this situation has been going on much too long, and it's not going to be corrected for a while longer. And I understand that this study is not coming out before January, after they have the final review.
So bottom line, everybody should really fill out the applications. I mean, if you feel you've got questions, consult with an attorney or have somebody look at it, help you along, but fill out the applications. Is that what we're doing?
2 more questions, then we're gonna wrap it up for a town board meeting.
Has there been any engineering groups that come through to kind of assess if there is a potential hazard that Wawarsing is going to be washed away if this thing gives way?
USGS is conducting a study. That's not part of the buyout.
No, I know it's not a buyout.
Folks. Yeah, the USGS study is going on. To the best of my knowledge, there's no other study looking at hydraulics.
I'm sorry.
So the county's committed with these applications to keep them on file, yes? And Ira?
Yes?
Round 2, once the USGS study is final and we have this information that we've been waiting for this link between the tunnel water and our area here, and we have the application still on file, we have a commitment from DEP to help fund round 2?
The city money is available right once we have this agreement, yes.
Yes.
So we're not waiting for the USGS report for the city's match for the state money for this program to be available. It will be available.
I understand that. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about this is going to be exhausted. So when we have to do round 2, because there's going to be more homeowners that are going to want to be out of harm's way, are we going to have DEP's commitment for round 2?
As I said, we will see what the report says, and the DEP commissioner will reevaluate our position, and we'll find out from him where we go next. It really depends on what that report says.
So we have oversight. So
Sure, I think one of the things you can say is that if the report comes out and there are still homes in harm's way that we're unable to reach, we will ask as a county for round two.
I think the town does have a town board meeting here at 7. Hopefully we've provided you with some information, and the most important thing that we would like to leave you with is if there is any doubt in your mind, fill out an application, submit it, and we will take the program as far as we possibly can.
Can I ask one more question? If the USGS study comes back and it proves that DEP is responsible for everybody's headache in this room, is the state gonna go after them for reimbursement for this money that's being put up by them?
Everybody feel the other questions answered? No. Everybody feel that they've heard as much as they want to hear? I want to thank you all for coming.
Thank you all very much.
So, just to let